Well, I think being in computer science classes pretty much defined my high school career because I've taken computer science classes every year, and like honestly, room 120 is practically like my second home inside of school. I've just spent so long here. Um, and additionally, it's not just within the classes, just beyond the classes, it's defined my high school career in terms of extracurriculars because computer science classes and Mr. Galbraith have been kind of the way that I've gotten into other things like the Northwest Advanced Programming Workshop and the Autonomous Vehicle Project that I did over the summers of 2017 and 2018. And actually, also in freshman year, I did a digital design and fabrication camp um, with Miss Gear at PCC that summer. So really, just year-round, computer science and engineering classes have been, just a part of life, something that I've been constantly learning new skills and just exploring. Just being exposed to so many different things like programming and robotics and getting to work with it has made me realize like exactly what I want to do in the future. Because when I actually came to Sunset, I was thinking that maybe I wanted to be an engineer. And kind of ironically, after going through the engineering program, I don't actually want to be an engineer. But I have realized that what I actually love more is looking at more of the theory or like the mathematical side. For example, I took C++ and data structures and getting to look at, how you store data inside a computer and the theory that goes into that and optimal solutions for how you can store data and retrieve data and things like that I find really interesting. And also just being able to apply computer science to other subjects, not just like engineering and robotics, but also I've applied it to writing lab reports. I used some programming in my data analysis for my HL chemistry IA, and just being able to apply it to other things like science, I've realized that actually what I want to do going forward is go into pure science. I want to study physics, but probably with an emphasis on, using computer science, both theory and, just practically, to explore different avenues of science. Computer science classes and engineering classes, especially just here at the Sunset program, are very free form, and I personally, from how I learn, I think that's a very helpful and valuable thing because like computer science is really a skill. It's a technical skill, and in order to get good at it, you need to be familiar with it. You just need to work with it. So having the opportunity in these classes to just work on projects all the time and have some guidance, but also explore on your own is a great way to actually learn because you have a more intimate relationship with the material. Rather than in other more traditional classes where you might just be getting a lecture on how something works. That doesn't really tell you what the essence of that concept is. That just describes it kind of superficially. But when you get to work on projects for every single thing that you learn, then you actually get to understand it and use it when you see it in an unfamiliar context as well. And yeah, I thought that that format of the classes was very valuable. I'd say that within class, one thing that I am proud of is some of the work that I've done on our Sun Rover project, which is a robot that we're trying to make that can autonomously navigate the hallways using sensors and onboard computers. And I did a lot of the software on that, really rewriting most all of the software in the past 2 years. And though it's not actually at the state where it can autonomously navigate, it's still just cool that I got to work with like multiple different types of hardware, just getting so many different things to work together. That's, I can still like remote control. It's like a fancy remote control car right now with all sorts of servos and cameras that stream over the network. And I am proud of the state that it's, come to now after, thousands and thousands of lines of code. And additionally, I'm especially proud of some of the work that I've done outside of class in relation to the computer science program. Like at the Northwest Advanced Programming Workshop, I met some great friends over that summer of 2017 as we were working on making a piece of software that could render this 3D fractal called the Mandelbulb in real time. And that was just a great 3 weeks where we were just playing around with these mathematical concepts, and it was like a game, but also just really interesting from a mathematical and computer science standpoint. And then finally, the work that I did last summer on the high school autonomous vehicle project was also really interesting. In the autonomous vehicle project, we had a team of about 15, 20 high school students, and in 4 weeks we wrote all of the software for this little model robotic self-driving car to basically drive itself around a small track or kind of simulated road. And that was amazing because we were actually invited to go to the AutoSense industry conference, which is a conference for actual professionals in the autonomous car technology industry. And that was held in Brussels, Belgium. So we were invited by this conference. We were the first students ever to be invited. We were invited there to come present the work that we'd done. And it was great just to be there and to talk to those professionals, kind of world-leading people in the field, and to show our own work. And they were actually really impressed with what we did, and they awarded us their Inspiration Award, which is the highest award that they give at that conference, and also the second place award in the outreach category to our program. So I think that the computer science program here at Sunset, is very valuable in itself, but it can also be just a pathway to go to ever greater and greater things. I'm really proud of some of the work that I've done over these past 4 years. Computer science is, as I said, it is a skill, it's something that you kind of learn intuitively, and then it's also like a mental exercise. It's something that you have to really think about. So I think that the skills that you learn in planning, just how to plan code and problem solving, you look at one sequence of numbers and you have to turn it into another sequence of numbers. And even without any other guidance, after learning how to program and going through these classes, you can really recognize, you can see patterns, you can figure out how to translate those patterns, you can think of what the best piece of code is to turn those numbers into those other numbers. And though it all sounds very abstract, just the fact that it is so abstract means that you can apply it to so many different things. Like I mentioned, I was able to just take some of my programming skills and apply it to my lab report in chemistry. And instead of having to type a bunch of stuff into Excel or a calculator, I just wrote a Python script that, scraped some data from the NIST website and ran an analysis through it and generated my graphs automatically. And it sure made everything a lot faster. And it allowed me to actually explore a lot more things that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, because I could just change a little bit of the code and generate a whole nother graph, do another analysis. And I was actually able to make a very in-depth lab report of just a concept that I found interesting. And I'd say in that way, computer science is valuable far beyond just applications to, making more technology. It's, useful throughout science, throughout anything that you can really think of, because it's that abstract. The skills that you learn in problem solving are that abstract that the applications are universal.